Click subscribe to get latest news and don't forget to press the bell icon.
It's an interesting thing that Democrats have only recently discovered that Russia can be dangerous. As one might remember, former President Barack Obama made fun of Mitt Romney during the presidential campaign in 2012 when Romney identified Russia as a major threat. But Russia has been behind efforts to sow trouble in the United States for decades. One way they have done that is by supporting leftist movements. One may recall how RT, the Kremlin-connected media outlet, had an anchor quit because of having to push propaganda. She said they were constantly pushing the leftist Occupy movement to show the US was failing. And that's just one example. Republicans are now raising a stink about a present issue in which they believe Russians are involved. From Washington Times, two key House Republicans have called on the Trump administration to investigate whether Russia is trying to undermine the U.S. energy industry by funding environmental activism as part of a propaganda war against fossil fuels. Russia's goal is to suppress the widespread adoption of fracking in Europe and the U.S., according to a letter to Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin from House Science, Space and Technology Committee Chairman Lamar Smith and Energy Subcommittee Chairman Randy Weber. Smith laid it out. If you connect the dots, it is clear that Russia is funding U.S. environmental groups in an effort to suppress our domestic oil and gas industry, specifically hydraulic fracking, said Mr. Smith, Texas Republican, in a Friday statement. They have established an elaborate scheme that funnels money through shell companies in Bermuda, he said. This scheme may violate federal law and certainly distorts the U.S. energy market. The American people deserve to know the truth, and I am confident Secretary Mnuchin will investigate the allegations. Why would Russia do it? Because the U.S. energy boom through the adoption of hydraulic fracturing and horizontal drilling is threatening Russian exports of oil and natural gas. In 2014, former UN Secretary General Anders Fogh Rasmussen said that Russia has engaged actively with so-called non-governmental organizations, environmental organizations working against shale gas, to maintain European dependence on imported Russian gas. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said during a private 2014 meeting that Russia had funded phony environmental groups to fight pipelines and fracking, according to an email leaked last year by WikiLeaks from Clinton campaign manager John Podesta's account. Putin hopes that by injuring our efforts, he can help his own. By targeting fracking, Putin hopes to increase oil and gas prices, destabilize the U.S. economy and threaten America's energy independence, said Mr. Johnson in the January 29 op-ed in Newsweek. If you follow the energy environmentalists on social media, you can even pick out the ones who likely fall into the propaganda ambit by simply seeing what causes they espouse and how much they align with Russian interests. But in all the focus on election campaign collusion conspiracy, things like this that are real and ongoing are overlooked.